So this is the last video I'll be recording for this week because I have it scheduled. I don't have it premiered yet. I premiere videos a day early, or more recently when I upload them. But premieres I do a day early. But I schedule them whenever I upload them. And it's only when I have scheduled, like prematurely, is the Omnibus Friday videos. Yes, last video I'll be recording for today, for this week. And that is the Image Comics books I've read that are in my collection. Now, no, these are not all. It's actually a very small fraction. This is not all the Image Comics that I own. It's just that I should have reiterated them. I should have reiterated that point before. These are all the ones I've read are in my collection. Now, yes, you did see that video fairly recently, but there's a few more that I added because some I forgot about, and some I just bought them. I bought them recently, and I had read them before, so I can review them. So, further ado, let's get into it. Now, you know what I'm gonna do? So, the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Where's the 10th one? Ah, crap. There should be 10. I know there was 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They put their mistake. I don't know. So at least first 9, I guess. I know I did 10. Oh wait, this one. There you go. So first 10 are all ones you've seen before. If you saw that video. Okay. Starting with Snapshot. Snapshot by Andy Diggle. I really enjoyed this book. It wasn't like, so all these books I recommend. All these ones are ones that I think you guys should buy yourself. But some of them are like, buy this now, and some of them are kind of like, wait a few, or if it's in your bargain bin in a comic shop. This is somewhere in the middle. I did like this book. If you like Andy Diggle, pick it up. But I didn't think it was like the best ever. Like, it was just pretty good. Now, I would say like a 7.5 out of 10. Worthy of checking out, though, regardless. It's the same creative team behind the Green Arrow Year One, though. So if you like that, if you like the writing and artistry, if you like the writing and the illustrations in that book, you'll like this. Like, definitely like this. Now I'm going to show the artwork. This collects 1 through 4. By the way, all 4 issues of this miniseries. And here is the artwork. It is in black and white. It is in black and white. I did it by accident. It is black and white, as you can see. Then we have On the Stump written by Chuck Brown, with artwork done by someone Prenzy. Oh yeah, that's right too. It was just Prenzy. And then Clayton gets us just a little. And then here is the artwork for it, for On the Stump, and you will see here that the covers are done by Sanford Green, who I wish did the artwork throughout because it was the same artist as Bitter Root. Spoilers, another book we'll be seeing. I should put this right next to Bitter Root, but I didn't. Whoopsies. Because they're both written by Chuck Brown. Oh, this one is one I liked enough. I really mainly just got this because it was the last Chuck Brown book I needed. So, this kind of like, I would say this is a 6 out of 10. One that I would say get at a discount, or if you are a Charles Brown completist like I am, you're gonna get it at any price. But I wouldn't say to pay more than $14.99. It's a list price. And that one was about. So Snapshot was. I should go over what these are about. Snapshot was a crime book about like someone who drops their phone, and there's like a bunch of violent snapshots on their phone. It's like a mystery to find out who did it and whatever, that kind of thing. And On the Stump was boxing to become president, and kind of one of those kind of things. But On the Stump I thought was pretty good. I do need to read it again to give it a second chance, but I thought it was good enough. Same with this one. This is Generation Gone by A.L. Scott, with artwork done by Andre Lima Araujo. And then coloring done by Chris O'Halloran. Now this, like I said before, it's basically Chronicle. Straight up. Not as good as Chronicle, by the way. So I'm gonna treat this as it's not, but I'm gonna treat this as Chronicle, the comic book adaptation. It's not, but it basically should be. Chronicle, the movie, is a lot better than this, but it still is worth checking out. It gets a lot better. If you read the first issue and you're extremely bored with it, I would say it's only 5 issues, by the way. So 5 issues put in here. Six are on the stump, right? No, sorry, it's five on the stump. So for both on the stump, yep, for both on the stump and Generation Gone, they both collect all 5 issues of their respective miniseries. This one, as I was saying, this one's the Chronicle. It gets better as it goes along. The first 2 issues are really slow, and I won't say the end of the third issue is the first 2 acts are very slow, but the third act is explosive, and just as much as the third act is explosive in Chronicle, so is this. But Chronicle is interesting throughout. The Chronicle is like never loses your interest. Yeah, it's a short ass movie, but it never loses your interest. This kind of does, and both are kind of short. This is only 5 issues, you know. So just because something is short doesn't mean because something is short doesn't mean it'll keep your interest throughout. Like shorter than your average movie. Most movies nowadays are like over 2 hours at least. I think if you calculate like all the movies that came out this year, once January hits, of course, once you did that, like the average length of a movie would be the average runtime would be like 2.5 hours. I would say, or 2 hours 15. I would say. A lot of like super long movies out nowadays that don't need to be that long. But anyways, moving on. Walking Dead is probably my favorite Image comic series. Enough said. Now this is volume 2. I have read the entire series, but this is something I want to mention. Most of these books I have volume 2 of. I don't have volume 1, and it was because I have volume 1 elsewhere. Volume 1 of this was on Prime Reading, is why I don't have volume 1. But my favorite Image comic of all time: Robert Kirkman, Charlie Adler. Oh, it was Charlie Adler for volume 2. He only did the artwork for volume. What's his face? Only did the artwork. Tony Moore. Tony Moore only did the artwork for volume 1, huh? It's crazy. Charlie Adler is the penciler and inker now, and Robert Kirkman, as always, is the creator, writer, and letterer. But the creator and writer throughout. Like, Graphtone is done by Cliff Rathburn, but Tony Moore still does do the covers. And it is black and sorry, and initially artwork. I did that for Generation Gone, and black and white artwork. And this, I am very picky about black and white artwork. This is why, because I know it can be done exceptionally well, to the point where you would rather have it be black and white artwork than color. That's how good that black and white is for Walking Dead. I don't want to buy it in color. That's how good it is. I consider it to be an offense, actually. All 6 issues of The Few are in this thick trade. It's written by Sean Lewis with artwork done by Hayden Sherman. Now, this book is... I'm going to make sure I was right when I said Hayden Sherman was the artist. I know Sean Lewis is the... Nice, doesn't say right away. Cool. On the back? Nope. Alright, so I'll just naturally assume that. It doesn't say it right at the bat. It's weird. Oh, sorry. I take that back. I was right. Written by Sean Lewis, artwork done by Hayden Sherman. This one, if you like post-apocalyptic comics or post-apocalyptic stories in general, you will dig this. I absolutely adore this. And I will pick up everything non-Spawn related that Sean Lewis has done for Image Comics, or at least check it out if it's another publisher. My local library does not seem to have a lot of what Sean Lewis has written. It kind of pisses me off. Yeah, I know I can just buy it myself, but I'm stuck behind just getting Image Comics. I already have everything that Spawn, at least, for Image Comics from Sean Lewis. Again, not Spawn, because Spawn don't count. It's a lot of Spawn books. And this one's post-apocalyptic, trying to save the kid from these people in a post-apocalyptic world. Very good. Probably my second favorite Image comic series. I don't know why I didn't put Walking Dead on my. There was a Twitter thing where it was like 4 blank that define you, and I put Wicked and Divine instead of Walking Dead. I probably should put Walking Dead. But this is my second favorite Image comic series of all time, and that is the Wicked and Divine. I cannot say enough about how much I love this series. Maybe this will do it justice. The rest of the entire series they have at my local library intro loans, all I gotta do is wait like 3 days and I get it. at least 3 days. Sometimes at the most 3 days. Sometimes it's like two. Sometimes one. And I don't care. I am buying this series myself, all 9 volumes, or the remaining 8 rather. That's how much I love this series. It's an absolutely exceptional series that I highly recommend. Like a 9.5. I'm not gonna do scores. All these I recommend. But absolutely like highest recommendation with this and Walking Dead. This is written by Kieran Gillen with artwork done by Jimmy McKelvey and Matt Wilson. Clayton Cowell, same letterer as what the first book was. What was the first book? As Snapshot, I believe it was. It's one of them. Absolutely insanely good artwork too. It is a lot to be a lot to like get used to, so to speak. Like it's not. You can tell it's this kind of book. By the artwork, you can tell it's a indie book, and it kind of has that indie comic feel with the artwork. I can see why someone wouldn't like the artwork. It is a bit too cartoony and kind of like I can understand. Basically, it's hard to explain exactly what I'm talking about. Let's move on. By far, one of the most underrated Image Comics series, and that is Sleepless, written by Sarah Vaughn with artwork done by Leila Del Duca. And I think one more person. Because you can't just have an artist. It have to have colors and colors and color flats and production. So colorers is Alyssa Sala. The flats is done by Gabe Fisher, and then Shauna Menduzak is the production. And here is the artwork for Sleepless. Sleepless is like there's this guy is like marches over this girl, kind of like works for her, and he's called known as the Sleepless. He doesn't sleep at all, and there's a lot of it's a fantasy type books. There's a lot of like kind of like Game of Thrones ish kind of things going on. Now this is one of the only books I own that I can safely say is appropriate for all ages. There's some minor blood, and it's kind of a bit too mature for like a little kid. But I would say like it's PG, like hard PG, soft PG-13. Like it'd only be rated PG-13 for thematic elements and some minor bloody violence. And the blood isn't too bad either, by the way. And this is volume 1 of 2. There's 2 volumes of the series that collect 11 issues total. Waking the Divine is 9 volumes, like I said. Actually, I did mention that. That's nice. The Few is all in 1. Walking Dead is of these. I think it's like 27. These smaller. 4 compendiums. I recommend getting the compendiums, or 15 hardcovers. Cold Spots is all in 1. It's all on this book. It's written by Colin. I'm not gonna go over the issues. Anymore. It's written by Colin Bunn with artwork done by Mark Torres. I'm just gonna say it's all in 1. You know, there's not gonna be another print in Cold Spots that only collects half the book. Why'd they do that? Unless it's way to cut costs. Image Comics would never do that. This one is horror centric. If you like horror comics, you'll like this one. Read this around Halloween, and you'll get right in the spirit because this is just the right amount of horror, and it's not like it's not like groundbreaking or anything like that. You could read better horror comics, especially from Image Comics. If you like Colin Bunn, if you haven't read this yet, I would say check it out. Oh, come on. That's got it. Alright, here. Gotta enter this text real quick. Nice, my iPad's glitching. Yeah, busy now. You can wait for that. I hate because I'm home right now, and I'm the only one that's home right now. So everyone's like, "Oh, can you do this thing for me?" I'm like, "No, I can't because I'm doing a video right now, and I don't want to." They can wait. It's something I can hopefully wait. It's not like it's can you open the door for me? It's not that. I have a full ton of groceries, and I need you to open the door. All the eggs are gonna smash. It's not that. It's something I can wait. But anyway, so Cold Spots, read around Halloween. You will not be disappointed. If you like Colin Bunn, by the way, also like I was trying to say before I got very rudely interrupted. But if you like Colin Bunn, you'll like this. It's not like it's not groundbreaking. It's one of those things that I would say read at your own I don't know. It's because I would like Columbine, but I understand people don't. But it's one of those things where it's kind of hard to explain what I mean. So let's move on. So two more, and then we'll move on to the ones I haven't shown before. So the first 10 are ones I've shown before, and ones I've talked about before, in my previous video. But what I'm trying to say about Colin Bunn is that like he's you could argue he's bargain bin, a bargain bin writer, but I like his stuff. Like I wouldn't have minded paying full price for cold slots, even though they had that series local library interloans. I could have read I could have read it there. In fact, I read it for the first time there. Um, Along with this book, The Other Side by Jason Aaron. This one is what I'm not a huge fan of war comics. I really dug this. Like this is like phenomenal, in my opinion. And it dealt with it did it in a unique way. It's literally the other side. It's like there's two main characters. One that's American and then one that's Vietnam. Takes place in Vietnam War. Very good, very informative. My kind of book. And again, unlike Black Panther Party, it's historical fiction, yes, but it does my kind of historical. It does the historical fiction. It's like historical comic done right. It doesn't just tell you the story; it shows you the story. I really hated that Black Panther Party David F. Walker book. It was a chore to even read what I read of it, honestly. But basically, TLDR for that book was it was an essay as a comic book, disguised as a comic book, an essay disguised as a comic book. David F. Walker, and it was really well researched too. But he had a really well researched essay. He apparently just didn't want to publish online, so he decided to put in the comic book and bore everybody. That's not used to that kind of narrative. But and now speaking of David F. Walker, and the whole reason why I got that Black Panther Party, and why I say don't think I hate David F. Walker as a writer, I don't, because I really, really, really dug his bitter root. So much so that not only did I decide to let's call it double dipping, to double dip and get a book, to buy a book that I could get for free at my local library, Interloans, but I also got the most expensive version of this book with the hardcover, but it was worth it. This is a phenomenal series. This is politics and comics done right. This is how you do it. Basically, how like Get Out is like it tells the story first, and like they want to have a message in their story, but they want to tell a story too. They want to entertain and also have a life lesson at the end of the day, which is fine. I don't mind that, and it's done, especially when it's done right, like it is here. Now on to the many more, at least double the amount of books that you didn't see before. Let's get on to it. Now, this first one I may have shown before. I'm not exactly. I didn't do artwork. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna do artwork. Okay. I forgot. I think I'm doing well enough without doing artwork. And honestly, doing it like this is kind of weird. Like at least when I'm going over the books, at least then it makes sense. But doing it when I'm going over, I'd rather like have an overhead shot, but I don't. I'm not an overhead shot kind of YouTuber. But this one I don't know if I showed before. I may or may not have. This is Paul is Dead when the Beatles lost McCartney. I believe I did talk about this before. I know I talked about it before, but I believe I did that for my last Image Comics book, Image Comics review video. I don't know, but Paul is Dead when the Beatles lost McCartney. This is you don't even have to like Paul or be into Paul McCartney. I'm not really a huge Beatles fan. I've listened to their songs, yeah, a lot of their songs I listen to, but I'm not like a huge Beatles fan. I read some biographies on them and I watched their movies or anything like that. No, I just am I'm a little bit of less so than a casual fan, like a little bit under a casual fan of the Beatles, and I still thought this was insanely entertaining. It deals with the conspiracy theory that Paul McCartney died and was replaced by a clone lookalike kind of thing. Not clone, by a lookalike. And it's very, very, very interesting, very informative. I didn't know a whole lot about that. In fact, when I saw Paul is Dead, I legitimately had to look up if Paul McCartney did die, because I thought it was the same as. This is written by Paolo Baron, by the way, with artwork done by Nessa Carbonetti. But I thought Paolo Baron, because the other book was Jim Lives. I thought Paul McCartney had died, because Jim Lives is Jim Morrison, who's dead. Someone swear they saw him at the bar or whatever, and it's like surrounding that kind of conspiracy theories too. But This one was really good. And also, I may some of them I'm gonna tell you the artist is, some of them I won't. Uh, Jock comes back with Scott. He's this time he's paired up with Scott Snyder to bring you Witches. My favorite Scott Snyder book, one of my favorite Image Comics books, one Image Comics series or miniseries rather. I have read this like 20 times, and this is it just gets better and better each time I read it. Absolutely insanely good. Highest recommendation. If you like horror, you will love this book. Not even if you like the writer, if you just like horror, you'll like this book. I would be very, very surprised if you didn't like this book and you like horror comics. This is very good, and it leaves you wanting more. Because this is volume one, it was supposed to be an ongoing, or it was supposed to have more. All we've had thus far is a one shot that doesn't take place after it's a prequel, and then we have a like 5-page story in an anthology book that I haven't read yet, which I really do want to read it. But I have read the one shot, and it was good too. But this is just phenomenal. They should just make a Witches hardcover. I would consider double dipping if they made a Witches hardcover and they collected that bad. It's called Bad Egg. Is the one shot. It was a Halloween special, and then that anthology story in that Image exclamation point anthology 12 issue miniseries, maxi series that came out when they came out last year when Image Comics is having its 30th anniversary, and they decided to have um, to not even release a trade. They should have done a trade. They should have done like a huge omnibus trade. Yeah, it would have been expensive, and yeah, I probably still wouldn't own it. Nah, I most likely own it by now. But they should have done that. Not 12 issues because they didn't have it. I'm at local comic shop. They had like the first 4 issues, and then when I actually wanted, like when I was actually gonna get it for, was the Scarlet Center Witches one. They didn't have it. They probably still don't, honestly. Now this one is volume 2 of Family Tree. Volume 1 I have in floppies, but let's say this is volume 1 because all I've read is volume 1 so far. And part of this, so this collects 4 issues per trade, and I've read the first 6. I want to say, I know I've read at least the first 4, and it's very very intriguing. It's Jeff Lemire. It's peak Jeff Lemire. If you like Jeff Lemire, you'll love this. All I'm gonna say about that. Monstrous. I've read everything in this first trade. This is actually volume 1 too. I know I've read the first 3, and this got me into the fantasy genre. This is responsible for why I was on a fantasy kick for the longest time. It's because of this book. This will get if you're not a huge fan of fantasy comics and you're kind of like, oh, they're all kind of the same, aren't they? They're all kind of like orcs and weird things and Lord of the Rings and nerdy shit. Read this and you will be forever changed. Trust me. There's a reason why this series is so critically acclaimed. And there's a reason for why I'm almost thinking of upgrading, literally double dipping, and getting the hardcovers. I probably won't, but I have considered it. The Beauty, one of the more underrated books and writers too, Jeremy Huon. I think I did talk about this before. I may have, but I remember for my first Image Comics, all the Image Comics in my collection video. I almost want to say that I didn't include books like this that I haven't, and Monstrous, that I haven't finished the series. All I've read is what I'm holding in my hand right now, the first volume. I wanted to do ones that I have read the whole entire series of, but I think I made some exceptions. But this is The Beauty, and this is beautiful as a book. It's very intriguing, and it leaves you hooked. Like, it's one of those cliffhanger endings that you're like, I want to know what happens next. Now, unfortunately, book 2, volume 2, from what I've heard, it's more like a prequel, so it takes a step back, which I don't like when they do that. But now that I know that, I'll be prepared, and I'll probably still like it. This is really good. It's a really good like crime kind of book. It's more like a mystery, crime and mystery, I'd say. This is Prophet, and this is if you like Dune and like Blade Runner, those more like out there sci-fi movies, you'll like this. This is I read this a while ago, but I remember like even a long time ago when my tastes in comics were I was very strict. Let's say that I was very strict about what I liked about what I liked in comics. Um, this one broke that. This one was even then I liked it. I was very picky. That was the word. I was very picky about the kind of comics I liked. Even like 3 years ago, I would say, or 4 years ago. This one broke that. This one I was really intrigued with. I really enjoyed it, and I would have read more had my library had all 5 volumes. They did not. They only had the first two. But I dug this, like really dug this. This is really damn good. A lot of writers too, which I don't. I wish they would. I can't say that because maybe it would been less good. But it was just like 15 different writers. So I don't know which one to thank for. There's Stan Roy. One I don't recognize. It was like a Fred Dalrymple was the one I didn't recognize, and then Brendan Graham. There's a bunch of writers behind Prophet. And yes, I know it was originally created by Rob Liefeld, and this is the reboot, and it's actually it collects issues 28 onward, 26 onward, because the first 25 are written by Rob Liefeld, but it's a reboot though, so you don't have to read the first 25. What's going on? Moving on. Outcast. Now this collects all 8 volumes. I've only read. I'm gonna say 7. I'm gonna say 7. The reason why I can't remember was because apparently it didn't have volume 7. My local library said my intro loaned it. They said nope, no volume 7. The second time put it in. I know I read volume 7, but anyways, it's good, very good. If you like Robert Kirkman, you'll love this one. I believe I went over this. I think I did. I can't remember. That's the reason for why I couldn't. That's why I keep saying because I can't remember. But the ones I know I went over. It was something I know I went over. But Outcast, phenomenal book. If you like Robert Kirkman, you'll love this. It's Robert Kirkman's answer to Exorcist. If Walking Dead was his answer to Night of the Living Dead and the zombie genre, this is his answer to The Exorcist. It's not exactly like The Exorcist. It's obviously a different kind of story, but it's possession story and like being possessed and all that kind of junk and exorcists and it's not a ripoff like how Generation Gone you can argue was a ripoff of Chronicle. Sacred Creatures was when I read not too long ago from my local library. I love it so much I just had to pick it up. Now yes, it was helped by the fact this is a thick book and it's very cheap. Even the list price is a good deal. I got this cheap. I got this cheap. I got it for $7, so it was like, why not get it? And it's used like new too, so like no real blemishes other than shelfware. It's probably my fault because that's how shelfware happens. Is you're putting the book on off your shelf. But Sacred Creatures, phenomenal book. Really damn good. And it leaves you wanting more. Again, like with Witches, there was supposed to be more, but no news yet on it. Now this one, which one's which of this one? There's two the same. One's a prequel. So this is the prequel. Jupiter's Circle and Jupiter's Legacy. I like Jupiter's Circle a lot more than Jupiter's Legacy. Jupiter's Circle is honestly the Pride done right. It's a side story, and it was two gay guys. There's like whole controversy. Ooh, what comes out? What the secret comes out? But they do it phenomenally here. This is how you do that kind of story in comics and modern comic writers. This is phenomenal. Jupiter's Legacy, and everything in this book was phenomenal. I remember really enjoying this. I was so glad my local library had this entire series. And I get to pick it. I still only have volume 1 of both series. Then Jupiter's Legacy, I was mad at first. My local library did not have the rest of the series, but once I finished it, I was like, yeah, that's not a big deal. Not that great. I liked it enough, but it's much weaker, obviously. I liked it enough. I still say check it out, but it was just kind of like a bit slower in pace. I didn't care as much about the characters, but I still enjoyed it. Kick-Ass is my favorite. My favorite comics of all time. Probably my favorite superhero movie of all time, honestly. Right behind Logan. And this is just like phenomenal. It gives you everything you want in a mature rated superhero comic. Guts, gore, violence, nudity, language. I said guts and gore, language. I said guts and gore and violence are the same thing. Guts, gore, bloody violence, language, nudity, some minor sexual content. It's just everything you want in a mature rated superhero comic, but not without being edgy. It's not too edgy. I would say it's the right amount of edge, honestly. Phenomenal comic. It's a classic. Pick it up immediately, even if you don't like Mark Millar as a writer. Then we had The New Girl. I still remember liking this. Been a while since I read this book, but I remember really enjoying it. And yes, I only have volume 1 of both Kick-Ass. I have only 2 volumes, not including this. 3 in total of Kick-Ass, and only 1 volume of this book. And they're both written by Mark Millar and both drawn by John Romita Jr. So same creative team. Headlopper is Image Comics' answer to Hellboy. So if you like Hellboy, you'll like this. The artwork is I'll show the artwork here because I kind of do need to show it here. It's a lot more cartoony, like this, but it helps the story. It complements the story. Is the word I was looking for. It complements the story. Very good. Been a while since I've read it though, but I remember really liking the first time I read it. But I remember liking it enough. I didn't. I thought it was like just okay, but as time went on, I came to appreciate it a lot more and more. Like one of those books you look back on, you're like, yeah, maybe I was wrong to say how I felt about it the first time. So I liked it a lot more. One more I thought about it. Revival by Tim Seeley was good. I do want to check out more. I will be checking out more, but I've only read the first volume. This is volume 2, by the way, because volume 1 I have at my local library. And I got this so long ago. It was when I did not care. It's like my library has. I'm getting it there. And this one was just cheap. I guess I just wanted to get it. I don't know. It's kind of weird. But this one, I liked it enough. It was intriguing enough. Nothing in it was too bad. But like with On the Stump, it was just okay. But I still recommend it though. The first volume at least. I can't imagine it's too much worse. Curse Words Volume 1, I've read all but 2. It's 5 volumes, and I've only read the first 3. This is absolutely phenomenal. I got this as a gift, and it's one of the best gifts I've ever gotten. You know who you are. Thank you for giving me such a great series. Middle West, I've only read 2 of the 3, and I'm gonna break my rule and read the 3rd volume. Not break my rule, but I'm gonna read the 3rd volume pretty soon here. This is a phenomenal. Well, reread the whole entire series, obviously. Because I'm gonna start from volume 1, but this was like super damn good. I'm not the biggest fan of Scotty Young. I found like the more I read his stuff, I'm like, yeah, it was good, but not as good as Middle West. So Middle West is his magnum opus. So if you really like Scotty Young and you have not read Middle West, you're in for a damn good treat. Last 2, Wayward. I have read every issue of thrice over. Yeah, thrice over, and at least nope, 3 times. I know it's. I was like, did I? Wait, I did. I didn't. I did. I didn't. I did. I didn't. I didn't. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I have, and it's very, very good. Phenomenal series. I've read it 3 times, and each time I find more and more to appreciate from it. Pick this up if you have not already. I cannot recommend this enough. The only reason why I was kind of upset about the fact that I had no comments when I was showing this off is because no one else commented on it. Meaning, I don't think anyone else watched it. I had likes on it, but that doesn't mean a whole lot. If you, my theory is you're just liking it because you want to watch it soon, so you're saving it in your liked videos, so you can binge watch them. So if you haven't actually watched it, I can't tell, but I need everyone to know that this is a phenomenal series. I even like last month when I got Bitter Root, I did put them on Instagram, my collection on Instagram. I said, read these. It my monthly hauls. I did that. I showed off everything I got that month, and I did that. I will continue to do that because of Bitter Root and because of this phenomenal series. Read it right now. And I would say the hardcovers. They come in with beautiful posters that look really nice in your room, like they do in mine. Last but certainly not the least, Low. Now this one, I'm going to say this is. Let's pretend this is softcover volume 1 because that's all I've read. But my God, this made me into a recommender fan, like right at the bat. Took me a long time to get into it, so I would say read it the first time. If you don't like the first time, give it a few, read it again. Keep reading it. I would say 5 times should be your limit, maybe even 6, because it takes a lot to get into recommender in general. But once you're into recommender, you will not stop. Once you pop, you will not stop. He's an absolutely phenomenal writer, and I want to see him succeed. Honestly, I don't want to say. I was gonna say I want to see what he's gonna do next, but I have not read. I need to get caught up on Recommender's books. So, and there's a reason for why I want to get everything Recommender did for Image Comics, and the reason why I want to get everything everyone else read for Image Comics. The reason why I'm so annoying about that is because it started with Recommender, because he's such a good writer, and I want to continue that trend apparently. But that, as they say, is that. How many books is that? 1, 2, 3. I'm going to say 21. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 28, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. 28 comics, most of which all of which I recommend, but most of which I would say buy right now. If you want to budget yourself, buy Bitterroot and Wayward and Walking Dead. You can't budget yourself Walking Dead. Pick what you want out of this series. Start with, I would say, Witches and Wayward. That, as I say, is that. How long are we at? Nice, 35 minutes.